I swear I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Like, honestly, who jokes about their ex still having a hold on them while their husband is literally in the same room? Me? Apparently. And now, everything's completely messed up. But let me start from the beginning, so you understand how I ended up here. I'm Tracy, 32, and up until recently I thought I had everything figured out. I work at this massive warehouse complex in Albuquerque, doing inventory management. It's not exactly glamorous, but it pays the bills and I'm good at it. Plus, that's where I first met Marcus. God, Marcus. 7 years we were together, and somehow we ended up working at the same place, even after breaking up. Talk about the universe having a sixth sense of humor, right? So yeah, Marcus works in shipping, just across the warehouse. He's got this way about him. Not just looks, though trust me, he's definitely nice to look at. It's more like he just gets people, makes everyone feel special. We broke up about 4 years ago, if you can even call it breaking up. We just kind of faded. Neither of us really wanted to end things, but we weren't moving forward either. That's what I told myself anyway. Then I met Gavin through some work friends. He's 35, works as an HVAC tech, and he's Gavin. Sweet, reliable, funny in his own way. A lot like Marcus actually, just more settled, I guess. We got married after dating for like a year, which I know sounds fast, but it felt right at the time. Gavin's the kind of guy who remembers to change your air filters and checks your tire pressure without being asked. He's good, But here's the thing. Marcus and we never really stopped being friends. We work in the same building, so it would have been weird to avoid each other. Right? We've got all this history, all these inside jokes. And Marcus, he's always been so natural about everything. Like, he'll stop by my department just to say hi, or we'll grab lunch with other coworkers. Totally normal stuff. Gavin never seemed bothered by it. He'd visit me at work sometimes, bring me lunch or pick me up, and he and Marcus would chat like regular guys. They're actually pretty similar, both laid back, both into sports, both can make me laugh. But with Marcus, I don't know, there's just always been this thing, this comfort level that comes from knowing someone so well for so long. I probably should have seen the warning signs, like how I'd catch myself fixing my hair before going to the shipping department, or how I'd laugh a little too hard at Marcus's jokes, but I kept telling myself it was just because we had history, Just two people who used to date, being mature adults about it. Plus, Gavin trusted me completely. Maybe that should have made me try harder to deserve that trust. The real trouble started when they announced the warehouse holiday party. I knew Marcus would be there. He's always the life of these things. I remember telling Gavin about it, acting all casual like it was just another work event. But deep down, I was already thinking about what I'd wear, wondering if Marcus would notice. Looking back now, I can't believe how blind I was to what was happening. Or maybe I didn't want to see it. It's easier to pretend you're just being friendly when your husband trusts you so completely that he never questions your friendship with your ex. Gavin would just smile and ask how Marcus was doing, like he was asking about any other coworker. God, I took advantage of that trust without even realizing it. I keep thinking about something my mom told me when I got married. She said, "Tracy, you're choosing your path now. Make sure you're walking it with both feet." I thought I was. I really did. But somehow I kept one foot on that old path with Marcus, telling myself it was just nostalgia, just memories, just friendship. Normal, right? Everyone stays friends with their ex when they work together. Right? I guess I should have known better when I started looking forward to work more than coming home. When I started finding reasons to walk by shipping, hoping to run into Marcus. When I caught myself wondering what he'd think about my new haircut before wondering what Gavin would think. But that's the thing about crossing lines. Sometimes you don't realize you've crossed them until you're so far past them, you can't even see them anymore. I started noticing little things about Marcus that I thought I'd forgotten, like how he always rolls up his sleeves when he's focusing on something, or how he runs his hand through his hair when he's thinking. And the worst part, I started getting annoyed with Gavin for the dumbest things. Like he'd ask what I wanted for dinner, and I'd get irritated because Marcus would have just known. Ridiculous, right? Things at work started getting different. Marcus would come by my department more often, usually with some work-related excuse that we both knew was just that, an excuse. We'd end up talking way longer than necessary, and I'd catch myself touching his arm when I laughed, or fixing his collar if it was messed up. Just friendly stuff, you know? At least that's what I kept telling myself. The first time Gavin noticed something was off, I completely shut him down. He mentioned how I seemed to light up whenever Marcus came around. Instead of being honest, I turned it right back on him. Oh, so I'm not allowed to be friendly with coworkers now? Are you seriously that insecure? I can still see his face when I said that, like I'd slapped him. But he just got quiet and said he trusted me. God, I use that trust like a weapon. I started spending more time getting ready for work than I ever did for date nights with Gavin. New outfits, doing my makeup just right, even started wearing that vanilla perfume Marcus used to love. When Gavin asked about all the new clothes, I fed him some line about wanting to look more professional. And you know what? He believed me. He even offered to adjust our budget so I could buy more. Who does that? Someone who actually loves you. That's who. Then came the day they announced the warehouse holiday party. I pretended to be all casual about it, but inside, my heart was racing. I knew Marcus would be there, and for some reason, that felt more important than the fact that my husband would be too. I maxed out our credit card on this dress that I knew would catch Marcus's attention. Told Gavin it was on sale. Another lie to add to the pile. The week before the party, Marcus and I had this moment in the break room. We were alone, and he was telling me this story about his weekend, and our hands touched when we both reached for the coffee pot. We just looked at each other for a second too long. You know that moment in movies where everything seems to slow down? Yeah, it was like that. And instead of backing away like I should have, I let it happen. I let myself feel that old spark, that familiar pull. Gavin tried to talk about skipping the party. He had an early job the next day. And you know what I did? I picked a fight. Called him boring, said he never wanted to do anything fun anymore. Me, the one who was crossing every line imaginable with my ex, had the nerve to call my husband boring. The look on his face, I should have seen it then. He wasn't boring. He was watching everything fall apart and trying to figure out how to stop it. But I couldn't see any of that. All I could see was this fantasy I was building in my head. Every time Marcus smiled at me, every time our hands brushed, every little moment, I was turning it all into something it wasn't. And the worst part? I was starting to believe my own lies. The night of the party, I spent 2 hours getting ready. 2 hours. Gavin just sat there on the couch, already dressed, playing on his phone, while I tried on my new dress for the 5th time. He didn't even look up. Looking back, maybe he was already done with my games, you know? The warehouse looked different that night. They'd hung up these tacky Christmas lights everywhere, but somehow they made everything look magical, I guess. Or maybe that was just the 3 glasses of wine I downed in the first hour. Gavin was being his usual self, talking to my coworkers about boring stuff like home repairs and sports. But Marcus? Marcus looked amazing. I don't even remember how we ended up dancing together. One minute I was getting another drink. The next thing I know, we're swaying to some old song we used to love. His hand was on my waist, and it felt so familiar. Like no time had passed at all. I could feel Gavin watching us, but I didn't care. I was too caught up in the moment, in the wine, in Marcus's cologne, the same one he used to wear when we were together. Then someone started this stupid game, like a drinking game where you had to tell stories about your exes. Everyone was laughing, sharing embarrassing tales, and I couldn't help myself. The words just came out. Marcus still has a hold on me. I said it like a joke, you know? But the way Marcus smiled at me when I said it, God, I thought it meant something. The room got quiet, like awkward quiet. But I was too buzzed to care. Marcus kept his hand on my lower back while everyone tried to laugh it off, and I leaned into him without even thinking about it. Someone tried to change the subject, but I kept going, talking about how Marcus and I had this connection that never really goes away. I remember looking over at Gavin during all this. He was just standing there, holding his beer, watching us with this expression I'd never seen before. Not angry, not sad, just done. But in that moment, All I could think was how good Marcus's hand felt on my back, how right it felt to be next to him again. The rest of the party is kind of a blur. I remember dancing more with Marcus, probably too close, laughing too loud at his jokes, touching his arm, his chest, his shoulder, any excuse for contact. It was like I'd completely forgotten Gavin was even there. Or maybe I just didn't care anymore. It wasn't until we were walking to the car that reality started to creep in. The cold air hit me, and suddenly I realized what I'd done. Not just at the party, but all of it. Every lingering touch, every flirty comment, every moment I'd chosen Marcus over my husband. But instead of feeling guilty, you know what I felt? Relief. Like maybe I'd finally blown things up enough that I could stop pretending. The car ride started so quiet I could hear my heartbeat. Or maybe that was just the wine. Then Gavin started talking and his voice was so calm it scared me. He didn't yell. I almost wished he would have yelled. "I've been watching you two," he said, eyes straight ahead on the road. The touching, the inside jokes, the way you look at him when you think no one's watching. He listed everything. Every single moment I thought I'd been so subtle about. Every time Marcus happened to stop by my department, every lunch break that went too long, every time I fixed his collar or touched his arm. I tried to interrupt, to explain, but Gavin wasn't done. "You wore your date night perfume to work today, Tracy. The vanilla one, the one you told me you lost months ago." Something in his voice made me realize he'd been paying attention all along. Every little thing I thought I was getting away with, he'd seen it all. And instead of feeling ashamed, you know what I felt? Angry. Like, how dare he spy on me? "So what, you've been stalking me at work?" I snapped back. "You're really that insecure? Marcus and I have history. You knew that when you married me. We're just comfortable with each other. Comfortable enough to joke about him still having a hold on you? In front of everyone?" His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. "In front of your husband?" And then, I don't know what came over me. Maybe it was the wine, maybe it was just finally being honest, but I said it. "Well, maybe he does still have a hold on me. Maybe he always has." The car got so quiet, like, dead quiet, and in that silence something clicked in my head. All those little moments with Marcus, all those touches and looks, maybe they weren't just friendly. Maybe he felt it too. Maybe this was our second chance. "I think we should separate," I heard myself say. The words just came out like they'd been waiting there all along. "This isn't working, Gavin. We both know it." He pulled into our driveway and turned off the car, but neither of us moved. Finally he looked at me, and his face. "I'll never forget it. You're throwing away our marriage for a fantasy, Tracy. He's not going to leave his girlfriend for you." "His what?" The words hit me like a slap. What girlfriend? The one he's been dating for 6 months, the one he talks about at work all the time, the one whose pictures are all over his Instagram. Gavin's voice was so tired. "But you've been so caught up in your little dream world you didn't even notice." I grabbed my phone right there in the driveway, pulled up Marcus's Instagram. And there she was. Post after post of this gorgeous woman I'd somehow never noticed. Dates, vacations, love notes in the captions. 6 months worth of a relationship I'd been too self-absorbed to see. That's when it all started crashing down. But you know what's really messed up? Even then, even seeing the evidence right in front of me, I still thought I was special. Still thought what Marcus and I had was different. Still thought I was making the right choice. I went to work the next day like nothing had happened. Like I hadn't just blown up my marriage. Like I wasn't hunting for Marcus the second I walked in. But something was different. People were looking at me weird, whispering when I walked by. Even my work bestie, Sarah, barely made eye contact in the break room. The first sign something was really wrong was when I went to find Marcus in shipping. He wasn't at his usual spot, and his coworker Mike just gave me this look, like pity mixed with secondhand embarrassment. "He's working from the East Warehouse today," Mike said, not quite meeting my eyes. "Probably will be for a while." I texted Marcus, "Hey, missed you at your desk? Lunch later?" His response came hours later, just 3 words. "That's not appropriate." My stomach dropped. I sent another message, "Since when do we care about appropriate?" No response. The whispers got worse as the day went on. I overheard someone in the bathroom. "Did you see her at the party? Hanging all over Marcus like that? Her poor husband." They shut up real quick when I came out of the stall, but the damage was done. By Wednesday, Marcus had completely ghosted me at work. When we did pass each other, he'd nod politely, like I was just another coworker. No inside jokes, no lingering looks, nothing. It was like our 7 years together. All those moments I thought we were rebuilding, just vanished. Then came the Instagram post. Marcus's girlfriend, her name's Amber by the way, posted this long thing about appreciating a man who knows what he wants and not letting past flames try to burn down their future. She didn't name names, but everyone knew. The post got likes from half my coworkers, including Marcus. I tried to play it cool, but I was falling apart inside. Gavin had moved out to his brother's place, and our apartment felt huge and empty. I'd scroll through Marcus's social media at night, looking at all the photos with Amber I'd somehow missed. They went to Hawaii together. Hawaii. Right around the time I bought that stupid dress for the party. The final straw was when HR called me in. Apparently, some concerns had been raised about my professional conduct. They transferred me to a different department, away from shipping. Said it was for the best. I sat there nodding like an idiot while they talked about maintaining appropriate boundaries and workplace dynamics. That night, I broke down and called my sister, told her everything. You know what she said? "Tracy, honey, everyone saw this coming but you. We watched you throw away a good man for a fantasy. Marcus wasn't leading you on, you were leading yourself on." But I couldn't accept that. Wouldn't accept that. So I did what any totally normal person would do. I got wine drunk and started typing out this long email to Marcus about our connection and how we shouldn't let other people come between us. Thank God my internet was acting up and it didn't send. Looking at it the next morning? Yikes. The rumors at work got worse. People started calling me single white female behind my back. Someone taped a printout of Fatal Attraction to my locker. Real mature, right? But the worst part? Marcus requested a permanent transfer to the East Warehouse. He didn't even tell me himself. I found out when they introduced his replacement. So here I am, 2 months later, sitting in this tiny one-bedroom apartment that costs way more than I can afford on just my salary. The divorce papers came yesterday. Gavin was nice enough not to list all the details, just put irreconcilable differences. He's too good of a guy to publicly humiliate me, even though I probably deserve it. Marcus? Well, turns out my little joke at the party was the talk of both warehouses for weeks. People made TikToks about it, not with my face, thank God, but you know those red flag relationship stories? Yeah, I'm one of those now. Marcus's girlfriend even did this whole series about learning to trust your man when his crazy ex works with him. She's got like 40K followers now. Cool. The worst part is, I can't even date. Like at all. Turns out the warehouse industry in Albuquerque is basically one big group chat. I tried making a Bumble profile, and within a day, someone had screenshot it and sent it to their friend at work. Now I'm that girl who threw away her marriage for a guy who didn't want her. I ran into Marcus at Target last week. He was with Amber, picking out throw pillows like some perfect little couple. You know what he did? Gave me that chin nod thing guys do with people they barely know. 7 years together, and I got the chin nod. Amber didn't even look at me, just grabbed his hand and steered him down a different aisle. Gavin's already dating someone new. Some girl from his gym who does yoga and apparently makes her own kombucha. She looks nothing like me. I only know this because he accidentally liked one of my Instagram posts from 2 years ago at 2 a.m. Guess he was doing some late-night scrolling too. He unliked it immediately. But, yeah. My sister says I need therapy. She's probably right. But every therapist I look up just reminds me that I'm the bad guy in someone else's story. I'm that cautionary tale people tell their friends. Don't be like that girl who ruined her marriage over a work crush. The thing is, I know I messed up. I know I read way too much into things with Marcus. I know I gaslit Gavin when he tried to talk to me about it. I know I'm the one who blew up my life. But knowing all that doesn't make it any easier to deal with the fact that I'm alone on a Friday night, eating microwave dinner, while everyone else has moved on. I've started applying for jobs in Phoenix. Maybe a fresh start would help, but my references are shot. Turns out when you cause this much drama at work, people aren't exactly lining up to recommend you. And Marcus? He just got promoted at the East Warehouse, with Amber posting about how proud she is of her man and how they're looking at houses together. Sometimes I think about that stupid joke at the party. Marcus still has a hold on me. Turns out the joke was on me. He didn't have a hold on me at all. I had a hold on a fantasy that never existed, and I let that fantasy destroy everything real in my life. But you want to know the really messed up part? Some tiny stupid part of me still wonders. What if? What if Amber breaks up with him? What if he realizes what we had was special? What if? And that's exactly why I'm sitting here alone, telling this story to strangers on the internet, while everyone else is living their best lives, because I still can't fully let go of a dream that was never real in the first place. I guess the moral of the story is, no. You know what? There is no moral. Just a bunch of bad decisions and their consequences. And me, still somehow trying to convince myself that I'm not the villain in my own story.